All right, back here in Louisville at the National Farm Machinery Show as we broadcast from the Case IH exhibit. We're joined now by Tom Dean, Regional Sales Director for the Eastern Corn Belt for Case IH. Tom, good to see you. Let's talk large tractors, always a big draw at the Farm Machinery Show.
Absolutely, Mike. It's great to be here, and it is an exciting time for agriculture. And as far as big tractors go, we've seen an incredible amount of interest in big horsepower. You know, we've got our new Steiger 600 quad track here at the show. It is the highest horsepower tractor in the industry right now. And we've seen an incredible amount of interest in it, really more than we expected. And the thing that also surprised us is that with all the wet conditions that have taken place the last few years, we've seen a lot of interest in our quad track technology, which is, you know, the 4 independent oscillating tracks. And we're seeing 90% of those Steiger 600s are going out of our factory on tracks, and really the only ones going out on wheels are really the ones pulling dirt scrapers. So anything going out onto the farmland is really going out on quad track, and I think it's those wet conditions that are driving it.
Now, some would be saying, wow, we wish we had wet conditions because they've been dealing with dry, but it just shows that regardless of the conditions, you'll have the equipment that they'll need.
Exactly, because you don't know what to expect from year to year. So, and it's also great for compaction as well. You know, just keeping that light footprint going down your fields and trying to keep some of that compaction out of it. So that's been a big deal. And I guess the high horsepower, you know, these producers are trying to get by with less and less labor all the time, and you know, hired hands are pretty tough to find. So the bigger equipment, bigger implements, and just covering more acres in a day with less labor.
Higher horsepower, how does that go with more fuel efficiency?
Absolutely. Fuel efficiency is so important, and we're really excited. We call it efficient power. That's kind of what our whole focus is in Case IH right now. And it's really, like you say, things like fuel efficiency and operating cost, more power. But also it needs to be, at the same time, that's not enough. It needs to be, when we talk about efficient power, it needs to be easy to operate as well and easy to maintain. So all those things combined is what we call efficient power. And in our new generation equipment, which we started with the Magnum and Steiger series here last year, we see a 10% fuel efficiency improvement on average in our new Tier 4 generation products. And the great thing is, not only did we not sacrifice power, but we're seeing better power responsiveness out of our new Magnum and Steiger tractors. And now that technology we're crossing over into our combines and sprayers and mid-horsepower tractors as well.
You know, when you look at all that you're trying to do, deliver more power, be more efficient, and also asking a machine to do more but make it simpler to operate. So that's what you're trying to put that total package together.
Exactly, and that simple to operate is so important because, as I mentioned earlier, with good experienced operators are not always easy to find. So we really tried to make the operator controls in these new generation equipment, and right now we've got the same exact operator control all the way from the Maxim series tractor all the way up to the Steiger, so that an operator can jump from one to the other. And also it's easy to operate. We call it the multi-control armrest. We had producers from across North America come into our engineering headquarters in Burr Ridge, Illinois, and they literally sat down and designed what they wanted that control to look like, and so that's why it's been so well accepted out in the marketplace.
The last few years, we've also been talking about meeting these Tier 4 emission standards. If you would just kind of explain what that entails and how you're going about meeting those standards.
Sure, Mike. I mentioned that efficient power and the fuel savings averaging 10%, and what that comes from is what we call our Case IH SCR technology. And what SCR stands for is, it's a long word, but it's selective catalytic reduction. And really, all manufacturers had to meet this Tier 4, as you mentioned. And that's the way we chose to go about it. And what it is essentially, we let that engine run the way it wants to run. We let it put out whatever emissions it wants to, but then we treat those emissions as it's leaving the tractor in the exhaust stack. And we do that through a chemical process called diesel exhaust fluid, which essentially neutralizes the emissions, turns it into harmless water vapor. So really, we take care of any emissions at the back end, and so that's where we're getting that great power response from. And we're also able to tune the engine for maximum fuel efficiency. So that's the approach we've taken for Tier 4. We're extremely excited about it. And as I mentioned, we've applied that technology now not only in our Maxim, Puma, Magnum, Steiger series tractors, our big tractors, but also the new generation 30 series axial flow combine, and also the Patriot sprayer that we just launched, and really just brought it through the whole family.
Have you noticed in the last few years with the uptick in commodity prices and better farm incomes, have you noticed farmers really putting that back into updating their equipment?
We do see that really because, with commodity prices where they are and interest rates being low, it's just a great time to update the equipment. Because, if commodity prices level off, with interest rates being where they are, it's still a great investment to update your equipment while you can and minimize. Of course, we always talk to the tax man and make sure we're doing our tax planning, and sometimes the equipment investment makes a lot of sense in this environment we're in. We're in a pretty good environment for agriculture, and it's just a great time to update equipment. And yeah, we've seen demand 2011 for the industry as far as equipment sales was a record year.
So bottom line, your goal is to help farmers be ready for whatever the challenges they'll be facing.
Absolutely. We want them to be ready for the challenges of the future. We want them to have the most efficient farm they can with the amount of labor they have available to them, and really just maximize their profit per acre.
Great. Good to see you, Tom. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the chance.
All right. That is Tom Dean, Regional Sales Director for the Eastern Corn Belt for Case IH. All right.